presented by Caltech.
Good afternoon. Everybody excited to be here? Awesome. Well, we're certainly very excited to have you here. I'm Joe Shepard, Vice President for Student Affairs and Professor of Aerospace and Mechanical Engineering. And welcome to today's convocation. So this is an event where we can mark as a definite beginning of our academic year, and it's a chance for us all to be together and introduce our newest members of the community and celebrate your joining us. For the families and friends in the audience, you'll have a chance to learn a little bit more about what makes Caltech an exciting and special place outside the classroom and the laboratory. And for all of our incoming students and postdocs, this gives us a chance to set the tone for your journey of personal growth in the intellectual adventure that's at the core of the Caltech experience. Everybody up for the adventure? All right, okay. So there's no one better really here to set the tone than our president, Tom Rosenbaum. Tom has had and still continues to have a distinguished career as a physicist in addition to be the president of Caltech. He came here in 2014 after a 30-year career at the University of Chicago, where he was the provost and the John T. Wilson Distinguished Service Professor of Physics. Tom, like all of our academic faculty administrators, continues to have a very active research group studying low temperature physics at high pressure in his laboratory over in Bridge. But today he's going to welcome you to Caltech. Tom.
Okay. Welcome to one of the great universities of the world. Throughout its history, the California Institute of Technology has ventured into unexplored realms, defining new fields in science and engineering, and pushing interdisciplinary boundaries in the service of discovery. We are fearless in attacking large and important problems at scale, from the nature of the chemical bond, to the detection of gravitational waves, to the structure of the brain. Caltech's commitment to scientific leadership is notably expressed in the fabrication and operation of instrumentation that reveals nature in unexpected dimensions, whether through the world's largest telescopes, rovers sampling sedimentary rocks on Mars, planetary probes crashing through Saturn's rings or hurtling into interstellar space, a seismological network to provide early earthquake warnings, or the development of tiny implantable medical devices to improve human health. The audacity and ambition of your new intellectual community aligns and knits together Caltech students, faculty, and staff. Together, we work to set the example of what the intertwined missions of research and education can accomplish. Commencement speeches, claimed cartoonist Gary Trudeau, were invented largely in the belief that outgoing college students should never be released into the world until they have been properly sedated. By contrast, convocation speeches offer the opportunity to awaken entering students to the manifold opportunities offered in their new academic setting. But the pathways are not always clearly marked, and there are many things that you cannot learn except by exploring and experimenting. In this welcome, I should like to offer a few guideposts along the road of your explorations. You are part of an extraordinarily diverse group of students. The 233 of you who comprise the undergraduate class of 2022 are drawn from 34 US states and 15 different countries across the world. A heterogeneous assembly of scholars, students, and faculty alike necessarily brings to bear a broad range of perspectives and methodologies to the problems of the day and for the ages. This diverse population of scholars, namely you, your peers, and your teachers, must be nurtured in an environment in which you are free to express your ideas boldly and fully, and have those ideas challenged and rebutted, shaped and honed. Iron refined by fire becomes steel, not because it becomes purer, but because carbon added to the mix strengthens it. Refining by the fire of ideas drawn from diverse perspectives, rigorous argument, and data-driven claim leads to this sort of transformation. You will face, however, the normal human tendency to narrow your world and seek comfort through closest association with those who look like you and think like you. The first guidepost about securing the most from your education, then, is the necessity to engage with a wide diversity of peers and teachers, to venture outside the comfort zone of your house, your option, and your division, and together to test and sharpen your ideas. There's an old Spanish proverb that if a book falls from a high shelf and hits you on the head and makes an empty sound, then it may not be the fault of the book. You will crack open many books as you master the intricacies of science and engineering, but a full, resonant education requires much more. You need to move beyond simple coursework and delve deeply into subjects at the boundaries of discovery, an opportunity afforded by performing research, both in the summer through the SURF program and during the year. You need to understand other cultures and perspectives, perhaps firsthand through study abroad. You need to take advantage of theater and art and music on campus, to explore Pasadena's treasures, the Huntington Library and Gardens, which is located less than a mile away, and the Norton Simon Museum, and to sample the cultural accoutrements of the second largest city in the US, Los Angeles. In order to help you start on this path, the New Yorker and Caltech have teamed up to provide free for every Caltech undergraduate a 12-month electronic subscription to the New Yorker magazine. This collaboration highlights the strong belief by both organizations that science, technology, and the humanities must work together to find solutions for the challenges we face as a society. The poet William Carlos Williams wrote, "It is difficult to get the news from poems, yet men die miserably every day for lack of what is found there." A humanistic education helps us to function as life thrusts us into situations where we have to conceive problems outside of the structures that define them. It provides us with an elasticity of thought and familiarity of experience not fully our own, while challenging us to define the essence of what we believe. You are about to enter into a world rich in tradition and profoundly connected to the greatest achievements of humanity. It is the start of a lifelong relationship with Caltech that will evolve and deepen as you progress from student to alum. Most exciting, it is a dynamic world that is ready to be sculpted by the power of your ideas. Your parents, siblings, loved ones, and friends have helped prepare you for this grand adventure, and they will continue to be there, albeit at a bit more of a distance, to help you discern the guideposts of your college education. I wish you the joy of discovery as you commence your journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. We'd like to take our journey in a little different direction right now, and we do something each year at Convocation to illustrate various aspects of student life at Caltech beyond the classroom and the laboratory. This afternoon. Our program is going to be about Caltech's performing and visual arts, and we want to share with you some of the unique and interesting opportunities that you have for being involved in that. And we're going to have a group of our faculty and our students actually provide you with some short vignettes that have come out of their experiences, and I think that you'll find those both very interesting from a personal point of view of what each of our speakers has done, but also it gives you a taste of the types of activities you can be involved in. So what I would like to do now is to introduce our next speaker, Glenn Price. Glenn is the Director for Performing and Visual Arts and our conductor of the Wind Orchestra. Dr. Price has an international reputation as a leading conductor and educator with experience in conducting student, community, and professional symphony orchestras and wind ensembles throughout the world. Prior to coming to Caltech, Glenn's career included positions in Canada as professor of music at the University of Calgary and at the University of Cincinnati as a director of wind studies at the College Conservatory of Music. Please welcome Dr. Price.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Caltech. I'd first like to thank Dr. Shepard for the very kind invitation to feature performing and visual arts here today, and so we can show you a little bit about how we might contribute to the fullness of your Caltech experience. Albert Einstein said the following: "Personally, I experience the greatest degree of pleasure in having contact with works of art. They furnish me with happy feelings of an intensity that I cannot derive from other sources." Science and the arts share the ability to transcend the prosaic. As Director of Performing and Visual Arts, I've learned how our students possess a talent and passion for creative and artistic pursuits. We're here to provide those outlets, to help you to nurture your soul and that important part of your humanity. Or just let off a little steam and have some fun. In a few moments, you'll hear some examples from our theater and chamber music areas, but whatever your interests and level of prior experience, I'm sure that there's a place for you with us in PVA. We have an enormous range of offerings. Visual arts include drawing, painting, VR, and silk screening. Theater arts covers stagecraft, storytelling, script writing, improvisation, and acting in musicals. And music includes our glee club, jazz band, symphony orchestra, guitar class, chamber music, and wind orchestra. Since I don't have time to do justice to all of those areas, allow me to illustrate just through talking about a couple of them. So chamber music really is a thriving area here at Caltech with over 80 students in about 23 groups made up of string players, woodwinds, and pianists who are professionally coached for an hour each week and perform twice a year here to very highly appreciative audiences. Our violin specialist, Maya Jasper-White, and her pianist colleague, Robert Ward, organize students by matching them up by similar experience into groups of about 2 to 5 players typically. They're joined by flutist Haisung Choi and Martin Chalafour, who is the concertmaster of the Los Angeles Philharmonic, both of whom also serve as coaches in our chamber music program. Now, while the chamber music and guitar class are for students only, the larger ensembles we have are intentionally designed to incorporate faculty and staff from both Caltech and JPL, as well as some community members. Now, this provides some consistency of quality from year to year, and also a chance to work alongside some professors and alumni who understand your experience as full-time students here at Caltech. So my ensemble, the Wind Orchestra, is a terrific group of about 80 players, including students also from nearby Occidental College, where incidentally Barack Obama attended for a couple of years. And like our other ensembles, the Wind Orchestra programs varied and exciting repertoire. Last year, for example, we did a John Williams birthday tribute concert. We also premiered a wonderful 6-movement work written expressly for us titled The Grand Tour, which was written to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the Voyager spacecraft. We also featured Wayne Bargeron, one of the great trumpet masters of today, and that all of you have heard, know whether you know it or not, through his more than 400 film soundtracks, including his lead trumpet on films such as La La Land and The Incredibles 1 and 2. Our facilities over here on Hill Avenue include the music house that provides practice rooms and grand pianos, as well as 2 houses, one for theater and one for art. Now, also very, very exciting for us this year is the new Hamitman building, which will be opening in a mere matter of months, that will be in the center of campus and will feature a recording studio and a state-of-the-art rehearsal room for our large ensembles. So, why do we offer such a wide and rich range of offerings in performing and visual arts at a science school like Caltech? I'm sure that Mr. Einstein would agree that there are a number of very good reasons, and I must say that I'm touched by the highly poignant and profound comments I often hear from students. But I would say that at the core, I believe that there are 3 central features. 1 is artistic expression, 2 is community interaction, and 3 is as an important mental break from your studies and research. Getting out of the lab, even for a short period of time, can balance your brain, refresh, and invigorate. In fact, many report that it leads to more eureka moments as they have a fresh perspective when they're able to return to their labs and research. So as you plan your activities for the coming year, you may naturally be concerned about taking time from your very demanding academic schedules. We are highly aware of this. And trust me, our programs are designed to support your studies. They may be taken for credit and typically meet just 1 evening a week. So I encourage you to learn more from our website, and also feel free to contact me directly at any time. If I can't answer your question, I'd be happy to refer you to one of my outstanding faculty colleagues. So in closing, let me wish you all the very, very best as you embark on your Caltech years, and encourage you to take a little personal time to nurture your soul through the camaraderie, artistic expression, and just plain fun that you can have in performing and visual arts here at Caltech. Thank you very much. Please join me in welcoming to the podium my good colleague, friend, and colleague here from Theater Arts, Professor Brian Brophy.
Ten years ago this week, I joined Caltech as the director of theater arts. After many years acting in the movie and television industry, I taught theater at UC Riverside and mediated conflict resolution through theater as a Fulbright scholar in India. When I tell people I run the theater arts department at Caltech, invariably their first comment is, "Caltech has a theater arts department?" Even now, 10 years later, I still get that same comment. But why shouldn't the arts be offered at the #1 scientific research institute in the world? Over the last 10 years, our theater arts department has crafted over 30 plays, musicals, and we produce an annual new science-driven play festival. We have started an improvisation and storytelling for scientists class to focus on the interpersonal and emotional and creative needs of our community, and to offer a safe space for students to share their stories across silos. All of you entering Caltech today have spent most of your young lives dedicated to the hard skills. Your mastery of the hard skills have brought you here. But the elusive skills learned in theater are transferable to all disciplines. I mean, think about it. Collaboration, communication, imagination, improvisation, breath, the body, movement, memory, focus, and all of the human emotions. I know to be less rational takes courage. To not know all the answers creates empathy, avoids arrogance as you hand over your spark of discoveries to the world like Prometheus took fire from the gods to support humankind. And as you maneuver through your time here in Pasadena, learning new research skills, deepening your knowledge, your fire, you will be called upon to tell your story to the world. Not only to your specialized research community, but on the world stage. Because in these times of toxic disinformation, we need scientists now more than ever to communicate clearly and with confidence. The Algerian storyteller Albert Camus wrote, "If it were not for the storyteller, civilization would destroy itself." You're about to hear 3 scientists using the power of storytelling to communicate the passion for their science. Matteo Ronchi, PhD graduate student, specializes in computer vision. Chemistry postdoc Sandra Koenig investigates DNA replication enzymes. Neurobiophysics doctor, postdoc Rajiv Schubert works on gene delivery and molecular probes. You join this group today and tens of thousands of others in the hope that you will shout out your fire for science and translate your research to the plurality of humankind.
It's dark, late at night. I'm alone in the lab. There's a small desk lamp right next to my computer. Click. The light turns on, and a warm circular glare illuminates my keyboard. With a click, I get into my zone, ready to work for a few more hours. The rest can wait. 5 years ago, I just finished college in Siena, a little medieval town in the heart of Tuscany, Italy, and moved to Caltech to join the lab of Professor Pietro Perona. He is one of the founding fathers of computer vision. I was going to be working on developing algorithms that could teach machines to see just like we do. By looking at an image, not as a matrix of numbers, but perceiving and understanding its content, such as who are the people in it? What are they doing? What are the relationships between them? So I found it fitting that I would name the machine that I was trying to give vision to. Should be called Cara. Cara in Italian means dear, as you would address something or somebody desired or longed for. And I chose that name because to me, Cara represented the sweet side of science. The drive to satisfy my curiosity, the warm pleasure of finding simple answers to unknown questions. Just like turning on the light at my desk suddenly makes me see. Click. For me, being at Caltech was not just about getting a PhD. It was about teaching Cara to see. Much like you, about to start your journey right now, a few years ago, I was sitting in these same chairs and didn't know exactly what the hell I would be doing. However, I knew I was on a mission. I wanted to know everything there is to know about computer vision and become a leading expert in my field. However, something happened along the way that I still can't quite explain. I found myself singing on stage in a musical on campus. And you better believe me when I say I cannot carry a tune, even if I tried, because you sure don't want to find that out in person. I fell in love. I started an improv group here at Caltech and have been running it with my friends for the past 2 years. Now, for those of you who don't know improv, it's a completely improvised theater art form, and it's all about being comfortable with not knowing all the answers, saying yes spontaneously, and learning to be creative in ways that you wouldn't expect. Click. Scientific research is very much the same, a long quest in which the final destination is unknown, and the most enjoyable part is the journey. 6 months ago, I found myself in the academic battle of my life. You see, one of the biggest struggles of computer vision is keeping up with a field that is constantly evolving, changing faster than any one of us can move. There's a frantic quality about being the first to discover every novel idea. And there's a world of competition. Just in America, there's MIT, Stanford, Berkeley, even inside Caltech. I found out that another research group was working on exactly the same concept as me, of using only two-dimensional key points and relative depth labels to train a machine that could then perceive the full three-dimensional body configuration of a person in an image. Nobody has done this before. I must be the first. Click, the light turns on and I'm working till late. Click, the light turns on and I'm working till later. Click, the light turns on, I must work more. Click! The light turns off. They beat me. They published a week before me. Was this failure? Was this the penalty to pay for loosening my focus just that much? Click. No, not really. Because no matter the order in which progress is reported, for me, in science, just like in improvisation, the most important part is what you learn during the journey. And nothing can take away my pleasure of discovery. Now, I'm at the end of this leg of my journey. These are my last 6 months at Caltech, hopefully. And my light clicks again. Every day, I come to lab to work on being the best version of a computer vision scientist that I can. And I know as a fact that I am the best computer vision scientist in my block in North Pasadena. This and all the parts of the journey that brought me here are what makes me happy today. And makes Kara happy. Now she sees people in 3D just like me. Click.
Chemistry. What comes to your minds when you hear that word? Is it maybe some funny-looking people in white lab coats, having awkward goggles and dark circles under their eyes, wasting away all their lives in labs? Or is it maybe something like Breaking Bad, driving out into the desert, dealing with toxic smells and nasty substances, maybe even causing explosions? Or is it something totally different? Is it the chemistry that happens between two people that get along very well with each other? When I was 19, maybe the same age that some of you are now, and I started university, of course, lots of people would ask me, what are you doing now? What are you studying? And when I told them chemistry, the reactions I got were quite interesting. Some would be like, oh yeah, you must be very smart. But others would maybe say, oh yeah, interesting. Yeah, you know, I never really liked that in school. And then others would even tell me how chemistry is bad and just causing pollution and is bad for the environment. And then, of course, there's always this one or two people that will be like, hey, can you synthesize some drugs for me? So, yeah, being a little bit younger and unsure, those reactions made me experiment a little bit at social gatherings. So instead of telling people I'm doing chemistry, I would tell them, yeah, I'm studying German literature and philosophy. You know that awesome book by Nietzsche I read recently? Yeah, great. So that at least earned me a couple of respectful nods and sometimes even a free drink, which was nice. Nowadays, luckily, things are different. Most people actually think what I do is cool. Or maybe they just pretend, but that's also fine. But there was this one teacher I had in university in a class called English for Scientists. So in this class, we all had to give presentations, and she assigned certain topics to us based on our disciplines we were majoring in. So my partner and I, we were supposed to talk about glutamate, or more precisely, monosodium glutamate. You know, this delicious little amino acid that makes your Asian food taste even better, or gives your potato chips this delicious, round, and savory taste that makes it hard to anyway. So the thing is that even though if you go on the internet, you will find a lot of bad stories about glutamate, and it's also used in the meat industry to make animals more hungry. But then it's also just an amino acid that exists in nature. So take tomatoes, for example. They contain a lot of glutamate. And you can also find very high concentrations of glutamate in Parmesan cheese, which might be the reason why I really like Italian food. But yeah, so we gave a presentation and we tried to emphasize all these different aspects. But in the end, we just had a very strong argument with our teacher, because she just wouldn't believe us when we told her that the glutamate on the potato chips and the glutamate in her tomato are the same thing. She said, no, that's not true. One of them is artificial, and that's chemistry. The other one is natural, that's fine. But the other one is chemistry, and that is bad. Even today, this makes me very sad. I mean, let me tell you something. Look at, for example, the clothes you're wearing. Touch your shirt. What is it made of? It could be silk, or maybe it's cotton. Clearly a natural thing that is growing on trees, right? But what is cotton? It's almost pure cellulose. But it's also hundreds and thousands of glucose units linked together. Or you could say it's a natural polymer of beta 1,4 linked to R, 3S, 4R, 5R, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pentahydroxyhexanol. I just don't understand this obsession of some people with chemistry being bad. Look around you. Chemistry is just everywhere. It's in your smartphone, it's in your computer, it's in this building, it's in your car, but it's also outside. It's in every mountain, every flower, every bird, every tree. It's in the air that you breathe, in the water that you drink, even if it's clean water. It's just everywhere. Look at beautiful flowers, for example. Imagine you're walking around outside and then you see some beautiful red roses. They're so beautiful thanks to those carotenoids and those anthocyanins. And you can only see them because of the cis-trans isomerization of retinol happening in your eye. And then smell them. Indulge in the smell of cis-rose oxide and beta-damascene and geraniol. And then in the summertime, maybe eat some fresh strawberries and enjoy the taste of the methoxyfuraniol. Or if you go to a bar after a stressful day, drink a refreshing beer and enjoy the hoppy taste of humulone and lupulone. And then look at your skin. What can you see? If you're lucky, you might see a flawless surface. In my case, it's more like a scar and some freckles. But can you also see the phospholipids? Can you see peptides like collagen and elastin? Can you see the carbohydrates and the proteins? And can you see carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, sulfur, potassium, magnesium, manganese, all these elements, the protons, the neutrons, the electrons? And then, if you go deeper, think about your DNA, the molecule that determines what your face looks like, the color of your eyes, of your hair, unless you use chemistry to alter it a little bit like I do, but It makes up everything you are. So technically, chemistry is in your genes, and you cannot deny it. And it's also the reason why I'm here. And why I'm here in Pasadena, 9,500 kilometers away from my home. I just wish that one day I could convince people like my teacher back then to understand my passion for chemistry a little bit, or maybe even love it. Because what is love? It's adrenaline, it's serotonin, oxytocin, and dopamine. So without chemistry, there would be no love. And without chemistry, there would be nothing. Thank you.
2 months ago, I took a journey of revelation, a journey that started right here in Pasadena down to the Mexican border. When I told my friends that I'm going to Mexico, the reaction was like, "What? Seriously? Down there? Don't go there. It's dangerous." My friend Matt was like, "Dude, I had this cousin who was down there, and like he took her boyfriend down there, and I think he got shot and never came back." I was like, "What am I doing here?" But of course, the inner science explorer in me said, "Let me go check this out myself." And so I go down there, and I'm in shock. But the shock is not about people getting shot and killed and kidnapped, but of this massive wall, a wall that stretches from one horizon to another. I look at this wall, and my mind drifts. My mind drifts back in space and time. It drifts back 25 years back to a town called Darjeeling. Darjeeling, as a lot of you might know, is known for its famous fragrant tea. But Darjeeling also sits nestled on the largest wall on Earth, the Himalaya Mountains. This tall, 29,000-foot tower of rock and ice divides two of the largest armies on Earth. On one side is the Indian Army, and the other side is the Chinese Army, each boasting 1 million troops. This wall is not only divided by armies, but also divides a nation that's the largest communist nation on Earth and also the largest democratic nation. Literally yin and yang. Of course, as a 25-year-old kid, I'm not aware of all of this. 25 years ago, sorry. I'm in my grandfather's house in a wooden cabin, and I'm looking at these beautiful scrolls, these Tanka paintings. These Tanka paintings illustrating paintings from the golden age of India and China, of monks crisscrossing the Himalayas, and each of them getting their halo of wisdom when they go to Tibet. And I'm thinking as a kid, man, I want to get my halo of wisdom. So I go up to my grandfather, Pala, can we go across those mountains right there and go to Tibet and I get my halo of wisdom? Sure, my grandfather, as being the nice, obliging man he is, says, "Sure, grandson, let's go there tomorrow." We take this 2-hour ride through the fragrant tea fields of Darjeeling and over the clouds. As we're going, I put my hand out the window and I can feel the clouds going through my fingers. We drive above and end up at this 15,000-foot pass that divides India and China, a pass called the Nathula Pass, literally listening, hearing pass. But we don't cross, and I asked my grandfather, "Why are we not going across?" He says, "Grandson, look at that sign." And I look at that sign, and it didn't say Tibet. It says China, 1 kilometer. It's like, China, but didn't that painting say there was Tibet? He was like, "Grandson, 60 years ago, Tibet was taken over China. Tibet doesn't exist anymore. Now it's the land of the dragon." It's like, dragon, man, this is scaring me. But of course, I also see a sign that says Lhasa that way. Lhasa, like the painting, and I gotta go see it. So I run up to the hill, and what do I end up? Is a barbed wires and a Chinese soldier coming straight up to me and says, "No, do not cross," with his gun. I am petrified. 10 years later, Berkeley, California. I'm in my dad's front yard, and I'm playing. My dad says, "Hey, we have new neighbors. Why don't you go meet his son?" And I look over the neighbor's yard and I see a big Chinese flag and security cameras, and I'm thinking, Of course, my dad, being white and neutral, says, come on, go, son. I'm just totally petrified. But I decide to go to the neighbor's door, walk over, and I knock. I am nervous. The door opens, but it's a nice, friendly kid named Brian, and he gives me a hug. Hey, I heard you're new. Want to come play some video games with me? This is not what I expected of the Chinese dragon. Over the next 10 years, Brian and I become great friends. And one day, we come back from college, and we meet at his house. His dad's reading a Chinese newspaper. And I look in the back, and I see this train that's going through the Himalaya mountains. All this time, my mind has drifted off, and the Himalayas are a far distant dream, but it comes back now. And I asked Brian, what is that? Can you read that article? He's like, he looks at it, he says, there's some train from Beijing to Lhasa, and then something about stopping and cannot go across the border because the Indians are causing problems. I was like, Indians? Wait. Hey, you guys are the ones that closed that off. Brian was like, well, you guys, it says clearly that the Indians are the problem here. Of course, we're in sharp disagreement, but I said, Brian, you know what? Let's settle this. Let me show you that the Indians are the nice guys and that the Chinese are the ones that are the problem. Let's go on this journey. Let's take this train and go to Lhasa. Brian is, okay, let's do this, man. Little did Brian know what he was ending up for. So, 2 months later, we're in Lhasa, Tibet. Of course, this is a beautiful place and very friendly Chinese greetings that I got out there. But of course, we have a mission on hand. I have to show Brian that I was right and he's wrong. So we decided to take this long 15-day journey by foot through the Himalaya mountains to the Nathula Pass that I saw as a kid. It was a journey that was spectacular, through rock and ice, through glaciers. We finally end up at this terminal valley where India and China meet at the Nathula Pass. We finally make the rock scramble, and I can almost smell the tea fields of Darjeeling. And I can feel that we're close. I finally hear some soldiers on the Indian side speaking in the local Tibetan dialect that I knew from Darjeeling. I quickly wave my hands. Hey, Kirang Gusuk Debo Yinbe, means, how are you guys doing? They yes, Debo Yin. Oh, they come quickly bring us in. Hey, you guys want some tea? I was like, Brian, hey, I told you, man. I told you, man. And we have a friendly conversation. So, oh, you're from Darjeeling? Oh, I'm from the town next door. Do you know this person, that person? Quickly, a soldier interjects another one. And he says, hey, did you guys get lost hiking from here, from Darjeeling? It's like, no, lost? No. We came from this spectacular journey from China. China? Immediately, the soldiers took up their guns. I was like, whoa. He's like, you do not belong here. You got to go back. You are from the enemy's land. You are not welcome here. Of course, I am absolutely shocked and devastated. I decided to take this journey back down now the pass, and we go in our car, in our Jeep, and take this long journey across the Tibetan plateau. While we were on our drive, I finally gained this halo of wisdom, and we're back now, 2 months back at the Mexican wall, and I'm looking at this wall. I look right, and I actually see this bridge going over this wall. I walk over, step up to this bridge, and decide to walk across. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a math major going into my sophomore year.
I'm Tara. I'm an electrical engineering major going into my sophomore year as well, and we've both been participating in the chamber music program since we got here a year ago. It's a really great opportunity to sort of take a break from your studying and just have fun with some music for an hour a week. It's really a lot of fun.
My favorite part is that you can have a diverse experience. You can make it your own. You can choose what sort of music you want to play, Baroque to modern, and you can choose what instrument you play. I'm actually a violinist, but I chose to play viola for a term just to try it out, and it's been a lot of fun. I really like it.
So stay tuned for information about signing up. That'll be coming up.
Thank you, Glenn, Brian, Mateo, Sandra, Rajiv, Tara, and Sarah. Let's just give them another round of appreciation. Well, that was a wonderful, but just a small slice of the type of experiences that you too can have while you're here. And what I would like to do now is to show a short movie which illustrates some of the many other activities that you can be engaged in, involved from everything from community outreach to musical theater. Let's have our movie.
I'm Kelvin Bates. When I'm not in the lab, I end up spending a lot of my time doing theater. When I got here, I never thought I'd be doing any more theater in my life, really. I figured I'm going to Caltech, where they do science. That's all I'm gonna do. I better focus and buckle down from here on out. And I was pleasantly surprised to find that there was an active community doing theater here and plenty of opportunities for people to join in. Most recently, I was in Boldly Go, which was a Star Trek parody musical written by a graduate student here and his brother. It was a ton of fun. I played Captain Kirk. It takes a lot of time, but it creates a really nice sense of community. My advisors have both been very supportive, and they both come to shows that I've put on. For me, it's really important to have some sort of creative outlet. It keeps me more focused and productive when I am trying to do my work in lab, which does still happen.
Hi guys, I'm Bianca Lepe, and I realized that I loved traveling when I was introduced to the Caltech Y. In particular, I was introduced to a program called India Key Coach, which allowed me as a Frosh to travel to India and learn a little bit about the culture of India. I really learned a lot about the global perspective. Since coming to Caltech, I've been able to go to India twice. I've traveled to London in the UK, and I've also been to the Galapagos. But I've also known friends who've gone places like backpacking in South America, traveling through Indonesia, as well as traveling across Europe. So I would definitely say that the bounds are limitless. Wherever you'd want to go, there's a possibility of going there.
My name is Brittany Person. I'm on the swim team and water polo team. I knew I needed to swim because I kind of go crazy when I don't swim. I couldn't leave behind swimming. I really needed like the structure of a varsity team. I'd say a lot of us are kind of weird, kind of quirky, but that's really fun in my opinion. Half the people just kind of jumped in and they're having fun and they just work hard. Sometimes they work harder than anyone else. I love coming to practice and working with them every day. I love going to breakfast afterwards with them, and I love at conference championships cheering them on and having them cheer me on. And really the team atmosphere is amazing, and I've never experienced anything like it.
Hi, I'm Michael Post. When I first got to Caltech, I had the opportunity to join the Graduate Student Council, or the GSC, and as chair, I got to lead this whole organization, advocating for a grad student's academic life, its extracurricular life, and its social life. One of the cooler things I got to do was actually have a battle of the bands. We decided to call it Tech Stock. It's turned into this really epic all-day music festival. There was also a really amazing avenue to meet more faculty. All of the leadership administration positions are filled by faculty, and their doors are open. You can just go talk to them. It was a really great experience and opportunity to be able to follow both my scientific passions in lab and also my passion for leadership through this organization.
Hi, I'm Nick Trank.
Hi, I'm Tiffany, and we were part of the team that organized the very first Science Olympiad state competition here at Caltech.
Usually the state competitions are run at local high schools, but this time we managed by talking to administration and getting a lot of faculty support to bring it here on campus. We brought a lot of eager middle school and high school students to compete. We got to interact with them, they all got to see the great Caltech campus, and overall it was a lot of fun.
Everyone was really excited because they were at Caltech and also they were about to compete. Students just got to enjoy their passions. They got to spend an entire day doing science, working really hard with their team and watching all their efforts pay off.
It's been so much fun working with all the Caltech students to make this possible.
My name is Nishant Desai, and I'm one of the house presidents. As Caltech students, it's kind of interesting that we get to run our own houses. As a part of that, we have to make sure that we do it right and we do it smoothly, and that's sort of what I'm here to do. Coming into Caltech, I had never really thought of student government as something that really appealed to me. It was out of the blue, something that I really found a passion for, and really made me realize that it's important to sort of embrace a diversity of opinions not just your own. It's important to listen to people that disagree with you, probably more than it is important to listen to people who agree with you. And that's like something that I've learned that I didn't really expect to, and something that I'm definitely going to take out of Caltech.
I'm Michelle Wong, and I'm on the Caltech women's basketball team. You have your community in your house, you have your community in your study groups, but basketball is like a completely different dynamic. It challenges you in different ways. I don't always want to be studying, so basketball is like a good release from that. It also just gives me more energy. Sometimes when I come back from practice, I feel more energized from working out, and that kind of motivates me to do my other work. So right now I'm in Brown Gym. It's become a very comforting place for me, especially last year after our 2 conference wins, and the celebration that happened in this gym, I think, is definitely grown to be a very positive atmosphere. The best part about being on the women's basketball team is how challenging it is. You basically have to tap into something else that I never really thought about before I came here.
My name is Sean McKenna, and for a lot of my time at Caltech, I've been involved with ASCID, which stands for the Associated Students of the California Institute of Technology. It's our student government on campus. I had various responsibilities, from like planning meetings to helping people when they want to have parties get all of ASCID's equipment. One of the things that everyone who's on the board of directors does is midnight donuts. At midnight on a random night in the middle of term, basically every undergraduate comes out onto the Olive Walk and demands donuts. It's really fun. For one night, I get to see literally everyone on campus in the same spot within 20 minutes, and I think that's a really cool experience that you definitely wouldn't have anywhere other than Caltech.
Hi, I am Nadia Herrera. I have been playing the violin since I was in 3rd grade, and honestly, it's another part of my life that you would consider as essential as waking up and eating every day. And coming here, I had no expectations for the music program because it is such a science-focused school. But what I encountered were very high-level musicians and people who are just absolutely wonderful to work with. And working in chamber groups so consistently just allows you to grow more as a musician. Once I get to the music house, it's like time stops. I stop worrying about my experiments and I can just play music and be very happy. I do spend all day in the lab. I think science, science, science. I wake up thinking science. I go to bed thinking science. And just, you know, every now and then being able to go to bed thinking I have a concert tomorrow is just, it's a change of scenery. It helps me keep touch with like that part of like my humanity, who I am, as opposed to like I'm a scientist and that's it.
I'm Rob Anderson.
I'm Adrian Costantino.
And we are here in the Formula SAE garage, the home of Caltech's first Formula SAE racing team, where we designed and built a complete electric vehicle from the ground up.
And the part that I really enjoyed, I got to lead the direction of the club, but also just be able to interact with all the students and people in industry. It gave me that experience of pretty much a startup culture. Being able to fail and learn from all those mistakes was extremely valuable. My favorite experience was doing all the design and then doing the simulations and really seeing how a lot of the theory that we learned actually apply to the real engineering world.
The electric competition is very new. All the teams are kind of trying to figure things out. And even though things didn't work out too well at competition, it was one of the most fun and exciting parts about the whole club this year. We learned so much.
This summer I'm interning at SpaceX. All companies really look for people who have real hands-on experience.
Being a part of this club and founding it also got me my opportunity at SpaceX. I just kind of started with an idea I had, and Caltech really were supportive the whole entire way through it.
We have a small campus community, but that doesn't mean that there's nothing to do. It means that you want to do everything because you know everyone and you know everything that's going on, and it's also cool that you want to get involved in all of it.
Really, what I think is most important of being successful at Caltech is being open-minded and willing to try new things.
It's really easy to get involved. You have so many options. You don't have to be in the lab all the time. You have the opportunity to do so many other things at Caltech.
Okay, with that, it concludes our program for today.